Hey family, this is your girl Crystal. Welcome back to Black Does Crack. So last week, the question was, why can't black men and women seem to get along relationship-wise? Or why don't we get along in relationships? And I know some people feel like, well, isn't that the same for all people? Divorce rates are up, marriage rates are down, and people seem to care less about marriage and committed relationships in general. So what makes African American or what makes black families different?
A show of hands. Who grew up in a healthy two-family household, and then we'll go back to a two-family household because that's important as well. So now we have to ask, where do we get our point of views from as far as healthy relationships, as far as what a woman should do, and as far as what a man should do?
We look to our mothers.
But is that balanced?
It's not balanced, but that's what was there.
No, so now we have to question our point of view.
We got to look at what we're looking at.
I've been thinking a lot about this topic. I know a lot of people who are in the dating market right now, and it seems a bit frustrating because there don't seem to be very many qualified candidates in the dating pool, especially if you are a black woman or man and you want to date a black woman or man. It seems like your options are very limited. And I know a lot of people have been frustrated, myself included, because there just doesn't seem to be very much quality out there. Why is dating or relationships so hard for us? And I've been really thinking about that. I know a lot of people feel like it's the legacy of slavery. And yes, I agree. Slavery has affected a lot of things and how we do things, our mentality. It's affected our culture in a lot of ways. But I'm not so sure about marriage because the reality is from 1890 up until the 1960s, the black family was very much intact. In fact, black and white marriage rates were very comparable. And some of that time, blacks' numbers even outweighed whites' numbers. So that means at a point in time, blacks were marrying more often than whites. So it can't just be the legacy of slavery. So I've been thinking, what happened to us? Okay, so here are some statistics from the US Census. 70% of white children and 59% of Hispanic children live with both biological parents, compared to only 34% of black children. So 70% of whites, 59% of Hispanics, only 34% of black children live with both biological parents. The median age for women's first marriage, for white women, the age is 26. For black women, the age is 30. At all ages, black Americans display lower marriage rates than any other race. And that's at all ages. So what changed? What happened after the 1960s that caused our families to fall apart? Well, a few things happened. In the 70s, there was a decline in manufacturing jobs. As we know, a lot of our people didn't go to college back then. So they worked in factories and had manufacturing type jobs. So when there was a decline in manufacturing jobs, that affected black men twice as much as it affected white men. Okay, so that put us in a position where the black men were no longer able to provide for their families. Women needed help. Women and children needed federal assistance. And guess what? The only way they could get assistance was if a man was not living in the home with them. It would incentivize them to be single with just them and their children.
Feed all them kids. Oh, she got the welfare number, and she got a job. What's she doing okay? Yeah, she only gets the welfare. She stays alone, man. You know, she taking a big chance on you, Ruth. The welfare people gonna find out, then you gonna be the man. The welfare man.
Hello, Mrs. Price.
Hi.
How have you been?
Oh, grand. Living like a queen.
Mrs. Price, have you been working?
No.
Because if you have, I really have to know. Otherwise, you get into trouble.
No, I ain't been working.
Mrs. Price, you know I'm your friend, but you have to be honest with me.
I ain't been working.
Well, I understand a man's been visiting you regularly this past week.
You are not supposed to spy on us.
I didn't spy on you, Mrs. Price, but someone has.
It must be that lady, that bitch across the street. She'll say anything, that bitch.
The thing is, Mrs. Price, if something comes out later and I don't know about it, you'll be in all kinds of trouble. So, if you've been seeing this man...
Well, what is this? Am I not supposed to see a man? What am I, a damn nun?
No, but if you've been sleeping with a man and he's been giving you things, I'm sorry, but I have to know.
Do you sleep with a man?
Now, that's none of your business.
It's none of your business either.
You're wrong, Mrs. Price. It is our business. This man may be bringing things into your home which you may not be deducting. Now, you know I have to deduct you on those things.
What things? What things, damn?
Then came the 80s and the 90s and the war on drugs. mass incarceration of black men around the country. In the early 2000s, more than 1/3 of young black men who didn't go to college had been incarcerated. That's 1/3. Also, twice as many black men under 40 had a prison record than a college degree. We wonder why so many of us have relationship problems. Sometimes it's because we've never seen healthy relationships. So we don't know what they look like, and we definitely don't know how to be in one. Sometimes men don't know how to lead, and sometimes women don't know how to allow a man to lead. And that's one complaint that a lot of black men have about black women, that we're not submissive enough. And I would dare to say that's because too often we've been placed in charge in our homes, or we've seen our moms and our grandmothers be in charge in their homes. They ran the show. There was no man present. So a lot of black women don't know how to allow a man to lead. And a lot of black women have the complaint, well, black men don't lead. They don't know how to lead. And I would argue that it's the same thing. A lot of black men never grew up with a father in their home to teach them how to be a man, and definitely not how to be a father or a husband. So we're all products of our environment. Children need to see black men and women loving one another. They need to see healthy, functional relationships demonstrated before them. Since we know that now, and we know that dysfunction exists, why not make a different choice for our children? Yes, I know that if you're single, you can't help it. I'm single too, so I get it. But if we're able to make a better choice, if we're able to create an environment for our children that is healthy and functional, why would we deny them that? They're already at a disadvantage just because they're black. Why would we put them at a further disadvantage? The first thing we can do is recognizing our own level of dysfunction. So just acknowledging, hey, maybe I didn't learn everything I should have learned about relationships. Maybe I didn't get to understand the importance of the male-female union, marriage specifically. Maybe we didn't learn that. And that's okay, because now we have a chance to make it better for our children. So my challenge to each of us is, let's make a better choice. Now we know what's happening. Why would we continue to play into the stereotypes? A few weeks ago, I dealt with the Willie Lynch nigger marriage, where he said essentially, take the black man out of the home, make the woman the leader, and repeat the cycle. And that's exactly what we've had happen in our culture. Black women are leading the way. And I'm thankful. I am a black woman who is strong, and I believe in, handling our business. I'm all for that. But I don't want to leave our men behind. Our men need to be in place to lead our families. And right now, on average, they're not. So my challenge is, let's build up our black men. We're doing a lot of building up of black women, and I love it. We need to. But we cannot forget about our black men. They need our support, they need our respect, and they need our loyalty. So we've got to help them come to where they need to be. And we can do that by creating functional environments for our children to see a healthy relationship between a man and a woman, men leading their homes. And leading your home does not mean you tell your wife what to do. That's not what that means. I'm talking about leading in the sense that you are the example for your family. You are the provider and the protector of your family, and you are responsible for what happens to your family and for your children. I hope you guys were motivated today to have these discussions with your family and friends. I can't say that enough. It's so important for us to be open and honest about what's happening in our communities. We can no longer sugarcoat and sweep things under the rug. We've got to keep it 100. If you think about your own life, you know that a lot of things your parents did affected you. So it's no different for our children. What we do affects our children. So we've got to make better choices for them. And I believe we can do that. All right, guys, if you have any questions, comments, you have topics you want us to discuss, don't forget to email us at fixblackcracks@gmail.com. You can also find us here on YouTube and on Facebook at Black Does Crack. Until next time, you guys, I love you. Be blessed.